I would be lying if I said such thoughts haven't crossed my mind. The 7 heroes. Was their inspirational story nothing but falsehood? A cynical piece of wartime propaganda disseminated to improve humanity's morale? Major Eichberger, Captain Rauerstein, Lieutenant Fahrenholst. I was looking forward to learning from them directly, to be in a position where I could study their piloting techniques firsthand. I was sure this would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but reality had other plans. The only pilots I'm able to personally interact with are newly commissioned lieutenants. Of course, that in itself is by no means surprising. It's highly likely the exchange students are very low on their priority list. As a matter of fact, every cadet I asked told me they're supervised by surface pilots fresh out of the academy. So, what is the point of this exercise? Why did the Royal Guard headquarters send me here? All that is left of my exchange is the live fire exercise. I'm here thanks to the Imperial Treasury. My stay is made possible thanks to the taxes paid by hardworking Japanese subjects. How could I dare return to the Empire having learned nothing of importance? Inconceivable. No, as they say, wait and hope. Simulator training for the live fire exercise will start tomorrow. I'm more than ready. Come what may, I shall prevail. Mark my words, I will learn from this experience and bring back something of true value. Do not give up yet, Seijiro. You still haven't seen the Cerberus Battalion in action. Whew. Lieutenant Witzelben. I have to keep a positive outlook. Tomorrow is when the real thing starts. Alright, I should go to bed at once. I need to be well rested, and it will also serve as a good preparation to deal with Lieutenant Foyner's morning raid. Day 5. Man, the days are going by real fast, too. Will the game end after day 10? A good morning to you, Lieutenant Foyner. Did you really expect otherwise? You encroach on my private space day after day in the exact same manner. Only a fool wouldn't take precautions. I'll pass on your offer. I can't stand her watching over me when I'm so vulnerable. What a shameful display. And the way she brings her lips so close to mine that they almost touch while I'm sleeping? Simply obscene! I'm totally fine. There's nothing wrong with me, Lieutenant. No, I'm sure I'm alright. Why? Because I say I'm okay? Circular reasoning. Anyway, I'm supposed to attend a simulator training as a spectator today, if I'm not mistaken. Lieutenant, I should be at death's door, and yet I would somehow summon the energy to attend. Believe me, I would miss the exercise for the world. I wouldn't, sorry, miss the exercise for the world. Again, the lieutenant suggestively embraces me in the morning, no less. I'm certain now, this degree of physical contact is abnormal even for a Westerner. Just so you know, Lieutenant, I'm looking forward to seeing the whole of Cerberus in action. I wasn't talking about you alone. I haven't been cold to you. This is the usual me. Whatever you say, Lieutenant. If you would excuse me now, it's time to eat breakfast. Oh, here we go again. I've been an adult all along. Yes, let's do just that. She's pulling my hand again. Oh well, letting her have some small victories from time to time should be fine. I mean, you could look at it that way.
演習の概略について説明する。これが北海に浮かぶシェトランド諸島である。今回の演習はメインランド島をグレートブリテン島に、その東に位置するホールセイ島を欧州大陸に見立てて行われる。演習シナリオは例によって例のごとく、国連欧州連合軍によるベータ上陸阻止作戦である。状況は次の通り。ドーバー海峡を渡海進行中の 超軍団規模ベータ軍が探知され、国連北海艦隊が第一次防衛ラインを形成。 S11 爆雷による地対攻撃を行う。第一防衛ラインでおよそ 30% を失いながらも、ベータ軍第一陣が海峡沿岸一帯に上陸を開始。これを第一戦域第二防衛ラインとして欧州連合陸軍の下砲及びマルス部隊が面制圧により迎撃する。第二防衛ラインを突破した敵に対し、欧州連合の戦術機構部隊が第一戦域に突入し、第三防衛ラインを形成。主演砲撃を背景に優勢なまま戦闘を継続。第三防衛ラインの敵戦力が 30% を切った段階で、地中を侵攻してきた3個師団規模ベータ軍がナップ沿岸に出現。これに対し東欧北欧連合軍部隊が即応し、第三防衛ラインを伸長。対岸の欧州大陸にも10レーザー級を含む旅団規模のベータ軍が出現する。北海艦隊は全速後退するも 40% の艦艇を開出。国連太平洋艦隊及びドーバー基地軍は ALM を含む支援砲撃を開始。重金属雲の発生と同時に、洋上待機中の我が大隊は10レーザー級の排除を優先破壊目標として第二戦域となる欧州大陸に侵攻開始。セルベルス・ロートの2個中隊による低空侵入、目標選別攻撃により10レーザー級を排除。その後第二戦域の暫定相当に移行。その後全戦域全防衛ラインにてベータの全滅を確認し帰投。本演習の参加艦艇陸上部隊航空機の選抜隊による艦船本部前のパレードパスをもって演習終了となる。我が大隊は機動遊撃部隊であるがゆえに、今演習においても同様の任務を与えられている。ゆえに第二戦域でのチョーク低空進行など最も危険かつ困難な作戦が要求されている。演習とはいえ気を抜けば落命もあり得ると心得よ。なおベータの出現位置規模編成比率は当日を含めシミュレーターでも毎回変更されるものとする。演習プログラムの説明は以上である。終了。
各自完全装備で60分後にシミュレータールームに集合。何か質問はあるか？
しかし毎度本当に弾薬と時間の無駄ですね、これは。
どうせ国連官僚のわがままでしょ。シビリアンコントロールだかなんだか知らないけど、戦争気分だけでも味わいたいのよ。
だったら実戦を視察に来ればいいじゃないですか。歓迎はしませんけど。
バカかお前ら。国連のお偉方がそんな危険で小汚いところに行くわけねえだろ。そういうクソったらな場所はな、居候や厄介者の社交場ってのが相場なんだよ。
ブラウアーの言う通りだ。たとえそれがクソのような味だろうが、働かない居候が食える飯はイギリスにもない。他にはあるか？なければ。
How interesting. This scenario prepares for two things at once: a large-scale landing from the continent and an underground incursion. Victory in this operation obviously hinges on the elimination of the heavy laser class. Just as I expected, Cerberus Battalion has been entrusted with that crucial responsibility. Heavy metal clouds notwithstanding, Cerberus' job is still extremely difficult. It's no easy task for two companies to rush into the beta-occupied continent and eliminate several dozen heavy laser class. Should they fail, the rest of the forces will need to buy time with indirect saturation supporting fire until another strike force can be dispatched. Splitting your forces further while dealing with the landing enemies wouldn't simply increase casualties caused by lasers. No, the overall loss ratio would likely double. Worst case scenario, Dover Complex could lose a vast amount of men and firepower, leaving them in a precarious situation. They probably wouldn't be able to withstand another large-scale invasion. It may be training, but the assumptions they will be fighting under are harsh. As I thought, Europe's situation is dire. What's most shocking, though, is their palpable contempt for the United Nations forces. Is that a widespread sentiment among the European Union forces? Or is it limited to Cerberus because they are a quick reaction force, meaning most of their missions involve cleaning up the UN's mess? Maybe I'm overthinking this. Complaints about the upper brass are common everywhere, and considering the Bundeswehr has been incorporated into the United Nations forces, the UN military leadership would be the natural target of their grievances. Now that I think about it, it may very well be that the United Nations is to the European Union what the United States is to Japan. Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Fahrenhorst. Why does she want to talk with me? Whatever it is, I'm innocent.
あなたもシミュレータールームに集合するのよ。イルフリーでは訓練に参加するから案内できないけれど、一人で大丈夫かしら?
Yes, she has shown me the way before.
そう。セキュリティレベルは問題ないから安心していらっしゃい。
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your concern.
訓練の様子はコマンドポストオフィサー用のヘッドセットで見ることができるわ。イルフリーでの活躍を見てあげて。
Yes, ma'am.
では後ほどシミュレータールームでね。
Whew. It was just an ordinary conversation, but despite my calm demeanor, my hands are drenched in sweat. A living legend straight out of the history books. The White Wolf Queen. Just hearing her say my name was nerve-wracking, to the point where images of the shower room incident flashed through my mind. Heavens, that regretful affair. Indelible in my memories is her disapproval. The way the lieutenant looked at me with eyes full of disdain in the locker room, even though my innocence had been long established. Oh well, in 1 hour, I'll finally be able to witness the second lieutenant's, nay, the whole Cerberus battalion in battle with my own 2 eyes. 3 of the 7 heroes will take part in this exercise. I cannot afford to look away from the battle, not even for a second. I know this is mere simulator practice before the real exercise, but the joint integrated visualization emulator system ensures that things will feel as close to the actual combat as possible. Drives is an amazing piece of technology that accurately replicates visual projections of the beta, the scenery, and other TSFs. Not to mention it can also faithfully reproduce sensory feedback such as shock and acceleration based on actual combat data. I have some first-hand experience with it myself. Even though I was aware it's only a simulation, my mind had trouble telling apart what's virtual and what's real. Before you know it, you're completely immersed. However, Drives was created to be used in non-live-fire training exercises with real machines. I have never heard of it being used in live-fire scenarios to emulate the enemies involved in the damage incurred. Quite intriguing, actually.
清十郎、さすがに嬉しそうな顔してるわね。
But of course, Lieutenant Foreigner, because I'll finally be able to see the famous Cerberus battalion in action. I expect the performance of a lifetime.
舞台は普段通りやるだけらしいけど、私は清十郎の期待に応えられるように頑張るわ。
Great. Now then, I think I'll head to the simulator room by myself. You must focus on your preparations for the exercise, Lieutenant.
ありがとう。じゃあまた後でね。
Yes, ma'am. Same as usual, huh? Does that mean they can afford to perform as usual? I have to say that makes Cerberus sound surprisingly efficient. An impression I didn't quite get during my everyday life on Dover base. But what do I know? The lieutenant obviously has a lot of combat experience. I'm sure she can handle situations like these perfectly. Perhaps she's even become sort of an old hand already. I'm truly looking forward to this exercise. Oh, okay. Well, here we go.
シミュレーター演習開始10分前である。
That's
ボート中隊処刑。登場の時間だ。
incredibly red.
真壁候補生は管制室からモニターするように。
Yes, sir.
結果的であれなんであれ、飛型がこのシミュレーター演習から得るものは多かろう。
Yes, sir. I'm sure I will learn much from watching Cerberus do battle, Captain.
さて、我が輩も登場するとしよう。
Whatever the outcome may be. Now that is one ambiguous way of phrasing it. I wonder what the captain meant. Ah, well, I'll have plenty of time to figure it out later. Right now, I should pay attention to Cerberus' performance. Captain Gerhard Wallerstein, the Sonic Baron, leader of the Rote Company and one of the 7 heroes of Great Britain. This is my chance to see whether he truly lives up to his lofty reputation. And Lieutenant Foyner, what skills may she be keeping secret? Please show me. Prove that you're a worthy member of Cerberus.
シミュレーター起動まで300秒。整備要員は直ちに所定の位置まで交代せよ。繰り返す。シミュレーター起動まで300秒。整備要員は直ちに。
Time to get to our places. Now that was interesting. The Empire could learn a thing or two from how Cerberus fights in close quarters, plus their novel tactics are nothing to scoff at. Seeing the Typhoon live made me realize Lieutenant Vitzelbin was right when she said it's similar to Japanese TSFs in design and operation. I can't say it was a bad showing, all things considered. However, my imagination exceeded reality. To be perfectly honest, the Cerberus Battalion did not live up to my lofty expectations. I couldn't monitor anyone outside the Rote Company, so I'm not sure if this actually extends to the whole battalion, but their teamwork left something to be desired. Captain Wallerstein's movements were indeed out of the ordinary, but I still get the impression the 7 Heroes' reputation has been blown away out of proportion. Truly disappointing. There must be at least several Royal Guard surface pilots who are just as proficient in combat as he is, or even surpass him. But I only have myself to blame. Nobody forced these unreasonable expectations on me.
清十郎、待たせちゃってごめんね。
Good work out there, Lieutenant Foyner.
あー
What's the matter, Lieutenant?
ごめんね。清十郎にいいところ見せられなかった。
Please, there's no need to feel bad about that. It would be inaccurate to say Lieutenant Foyner is unskilled, but regretfully, I have to admit she is completely right. She failed to stand out in any way.
急いで着替えていたと思えば、やはりな。西洋の騎士と東洋の武士が惹かれ合う。ああ、なんて麗しいのかしら。
Those eyes are just odd. My compliments on a job well done, Lieutenants. Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's performance as a Storm Vanguard was spectacular. It's no surprise she excels in her role, otherwise she couldn't keep up with Captain Wallerstein after only being a commission for half a year. On another note, watching Lieutenant Vitzelbin was quite an experience. Though she seemed to be moving too much in her role as a rear support blast guard, she still provided precise covering fire while zooming around the battlefield, hitting the right targets at the right time. They all belong in the same batch, but I would certainly place Lieutenant Foyner a step or two beneath them. Cerberus may not live up to my expectations, but they are very competent fighting force. Anything less would have been unthinkable. Anyway, their members are all hand-picked from the elite after all. And yet, from what little I was able to see, I can't say there was a vast difference compared to the other regular surface pilots.
もう終わったことは仕方がない。お腹も空いたし、早く食堂に行きましょう。まあ、はしたない。清十郎くんの前ですわよ、イルフィ。少しは落ち着いたらどうなんだ。清十郎が呆れてるぞ。
No, I don't care really. Isn't this the usual her anyway?
ちょっと清十郎、それどういう意味？そのままの意味に決まっている。自分が活躍したからって。ほら、終わったことは仕方がないのではなかった？
I admit they are good people, but I can't condone surface pilots acting this carefree right after an exercise. They should be reflecting, rather sternly at that, or they're lacking results. Well, as real as it might feel, Draz is still nothing but a simulation, and Cerberus must be used to real combat, so maybe them not treating simulations with all due seriousness is just par for the course. I'm sure it's going to be different in the upcoming European live fire exercise. facing off against other countries will not fail to bring their competitive spirit to the fore. That's when I expect them to perform closer to how they do in the field. I know I'm repeating myself, but I can't let the national funds that brought me here go to waste. I can't lose faith, not this late in the exchange. I have to believe there is plenty to learn from the following exercise. Man, I feel like you might be a little disappointed. Lieutenant Foyner and the others should be on standby in their rooms right now. The carrier is scheduled to depart early tomorrow morning. The final maintenance check on the TSF should be done by now. The lieutenants have many preparations to make for tomorrow's voyage, so I was guided to the mess hall by the administrative official and had to eat dinner alone. I'm done with today's scheduled activities. This might be the first time since I entered military school that I've had the luxury of having too much free time for myself. Good grief. Being around Lieutenant Foyner all day always makes me exhausted, but in a way, it is lonely without her. I miss her already. What the hell am I thinking? Ridiculous. I'm not a child. I have absolutely no trouble coping with whatever comes my way, even if she isn't at my side. Inconceivable. I was only thinking about her personality and the way she acts. I mean, it would feel lonely if that cheerfulness went away. Listen to yourself, Seijiro. I'm not lonely at all. I'm just impatient. Yes, that's it. And I got even more impatient after witnessing today's simulator training. That's why, and this is highly unusual for me, I can't settle down. I know I can't quite judge their performance when they have yet to use real TSFs, but it's jives we're talking about here. Logic dictates the results must be very close to the real thing. Even if Cerberus deems a mere simulation not worth taking seriously, one does not simply overcome sensory deception of that level. Curses. I can't help thinking my worries are justified. There might be nothing worth my attention during the live fire maneuver either. I would have no time to feel conflicted if I were with Lieutenant Foyner, but at the moment I'm not, which is why I'm overly conscious of the fact. And that can only mean I'm not lonely at all. Yes! I'm not gonna say that and mispronounce it in any way, shape, or form. So, just pretend I did say it correctly. In the unlikely event there is nothing to be learned from Cerberus in terms of military matters, I would have no choice but to bring home something else that can only be found in Europe. Let's not forget that it's the subjects of the Empire who have funded all of my travel expenditures through their hard-earned taxes. If I have to go home empty-handed, everything would have been for nothing. Meaningless. No, not only would it have been meaningless, I would be committing fraud, and not just me, but House Makabe would also be liable for my actions, and the Royal Guard as well. So after giving the matter some careful consideration, the most suitable alternative to bring home with me would be the spirit of chivalry. Now, I'm right back to where I started. Thinking about it, I can't say the simulator exercise was a complete waste of time. At the very least, it made me realize how carefree they are. Instead of the usual discipline you see on the front lines, these men and women partake in frivolous diversions with alarming regularity. Worse, that isn't even accounting for the lack of manners of some of the members. And while I'm confident all my observations are the objective truth, I have to admit they are also successfully completed their mission. Their performance was far from what I had expected from a supposedly legendary unit, but I would argue they fared better than the average force would have in their place. So, how can we explain this discrepancy? Could it be they're not as individualistic as I thought? After all, they couldn't have achieved victory without sharing some sort of subconscious bond. But it also could be they're not motivated enough either. I'm sure this tacit knowledge, the traditional spirit of chivalry that dwells in each pilot, is what leads them to perform beyond their individual capabilities. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. Here I thought I could learn about chivalry by watching Cerberus in action and compare what I see to the precepts of Bushido. Thinking about it now, that approach might have obscured the true nature of what I wanted to learn. Frankly speaking, the only thing I know is that I know nothing about the spirit of chivalry. But at the very least, today's simulator exercise has set me on the right path. There's just one last chance left to accomplish my task, tomorrow's joint exercise. I couldn't sleep, so I came here. I'm standing in front of Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's room, but I'm having trouble mustering up the courage to enter. It's been several minutes now, but I've been hesitant to knock. I mean, he's already visited the other girls already. Well, he spent a lot of time with Lieutenant Foyner. He swam with Luna, so it makes sense that the next one would be Helga. Should I even ask her directly? Is that something Lieutenant Falkenmeyer would condone? These past few days, I've been trying to obtain something. However, to my shame, I still haven't determined exactly what I'm looking for. Of course, I have learned a lot of minor things, but it all comes down to mere trivia. The valuable resources of the Empire finance may stay in Europe. I have to ensure I can return home with my head held high. If there's nothing else I can do, at least I want to catch a glimpse of the European spirit of chivalry. Naturally, I don't plan on this being a one-sided deal since Lieutenant Falkenmeyer has shown clear interest in Bushido. We are in perfect position to learn from each other. That is mere sophistry. Nothing but cheap words to justify my actions. I need to stop lying to myself. Lieutenant Falkenmeyer always felt the closest to a real samurai to my own sensitivities. That's the sole reason why I'm trying to force her into the role of my noble confidant in the end. I'm simply taking advantage of her. But I need to do this.
ダメ
What? What was that just now?
そんなに見つめられると私も
She's looking at something cute, isn't she? Was that seductive voice coming from Lieutenant Falkenmeyer?
ダメよダメだったな
You stupid idiot. Of course it's her voice. It's coming from her room. Who else could it be? Here we go. This is regrettable. I've come at the worst of times. She's speaking in German, so I don't exactly know what she's saying, but the tone in her voice is enough for me to understand. Behold how the language barrier is broken. Oh, so I was right. She is looking at something cute. Good Lord Almighty! Why am I acting like this like it's out of the ordinary? She's a surface pilot, but a woman first and foremost. And we're on the front lines here. It's only natural she craves human warmth. It wouldn't be strange at all for a pure and beautiful noble woman like her to have been courted by a man or two. She could easily have had 4 or 5 fiancés by now. And so begins Misunderstanding City.
そうだこんな時は濃縮還元合成バナナオーレに限る DX 行ってくるからちょっとここに座ってて
This is the last night before she has the sortie for the live fire exercise. No matter how unlikely death is a real possibility, for the lieutenant and her partner, their time together must be worth more than anything. He missed that particular conversation. It's regretful, but it seems I won't get another chance to consult with Lieutenant. Even so, it would be cruel of me to deprive her of...
ごめんねすぐ戻るから何か聞こえたか
Not a thing.
何か見たか
Not a thing.
そこで何をやっている
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lieutenant. There's something I wanted to ask you about. I only got here a few seconds ago and was just about to knock. Father, brothers, and all my Makabe ancestors who sit in heaven, I ask for your guidance. This may go against the family's long-standing prohibition on lying, but for once, Makabe Seijiro will have to prevaricate. It pains my heart to admit, but during my stay in Europe, I've come to learn that yes, in the end, does indeed justify the means. Not a decision I'm taking lightly by any means, but I'm prepared to shoulder this sin for the rest of my life. For what I want to protect, what is important to her, this is a transgression I shall not regret.
では中で聞こう入れ
What? Come on in! Could this be the point of no return? What are you gonna do, Seijiro? It would be highly suspicious to refuse her offer, but her companion must still be inside. Wait, that's it! Of course, Lieutenant is surely aware that a samurai is forbidden from bending to the truth. Since I said that I saw and heard nothing, the Lieutenant is acting as if there was nothing, and that's because she won't allow me to shoulder the blunder on my own. Mother of God! She is a true knight. As a samurai, I would bring shame upon myself were I not to respond in kind to her gallant spirit. So, Respond, I shall.